Is the Samsung Galaxy A20 worth buying in summer of 2020? Well, in this video, we're going to find out. Hi everyone, this is Kevin here, and this is the Samsung Galaxy A20. And now that we're getting into summertime of 2020, I want to start a discussion on whether or not this phone is still relevant, and if it's still a good option. Now, at the moment, you can still buy the Samsung Galaxy A20 at a variety of different carriers, and most likely, that's probably the best route to go, because I know that they are offering the phone at some very good deals, and in many situations, you can even get this phone for free if you are porting in from a different carrier. Now, if you do want to get the Samsung Galaxy A20 factory unlocked, you can still do that, and I will leave a link in the video description. But right now, you can get both the international and US unlocked variants of the phone for around $200. So it's debatable whether or not that's a good deal, because there are so many other newer devices out right now. And if you do want to spend a little bit of extra money, then I do feel like there are better options, such as the Samsung Galaxy A51. And you also have to keep in mind that we have the Samsung Galaxy A21, the successor to this phone, coming right around the corner. In fact, I'm expecting that any week now, we will see the Galaxy A21 available. Now, initially, we are just going to have the international variant of the phone being offered, but eventually I do expect a variant of the A21 to be available for all 4 major US carriers. But getting back into the original topic, let's discuss whether or not the Samsung Galaxy A20 is still a good option now that we're in roughly the middle of 2020. The first thing I want to mention is the long-term reliability of the device. Now, I've had this phone ever since last fall, and it has remained very reliable. I know that sometimes people can be concerned about different things, such as screen burn-in or batteries degrading, and from my experience, neither of those things have happened with the Galaxy A20. Now, with the phone, we're getting a 6.4-inch display. It is a 720p AMOLED display at 19.5 by 9 for the aspect ratio. And overall, I'm still a really big fan of the display itself. Now, I know that some people are not too crazy that we're only getting 720p here, and of course, I agree, it would have been nice if the A20 had 1080p instead, but the good news though is that the display still does look really good. Things do look crisp and clear, of course not quite as good as 1080p, there's no doubt about that, but certainly the display is good enough here to get the job done, especially when it comes to watching video content on the device. Colors still really do pop, and really this is one of the best displays that I've seen from a device in this price range. You really cannot beat going with a phone that has an AMOLED display, and I know that there are some better options on paper at this price tag, such as the Moto G8 Plus, for example, but phones like that still give you LCD for the display, so you have to consider how much better AMOLED is. Another benefit with AMOLED is that you're going to be getting better viewing angles, so I certainly can't complain about that either. Now, the phone does feature a water drop at the top and a little bit of a thicker bottom bezel, so those are kind of 2 design compromises that come along with going with a budget device like this one. But up top here, we do have an 8 megapixel front-facing camera, and if you want to see photo and video samples from the phone, then definitely take a look at my full review video that I already have here on my channel. Now, internally, we're getting 32 gigabytes of storage with SD card expansion up to 512 gigabytes. So I would say, personally, 32 gigs is pretty much the bare minimum. You really don't want to get a phone with less storage than 32 gigs just because of how large apps are nowadays. So you will quickly fill up anything less than 32 gigs, and really, you probably will fill up 32 gigs itself quite quickly as well. Now, the device has a fingerprint sensor on the back, which is nice and quick. We're also getting face unlock with the phone as well. Then on the back of the device, we also have a dual camera setup. So we're getting a 13 megapixel main camera and a 5 megapixel secondary camera, which is both an ultra wide angle camera and the depth sensing camera. So it is really awesome that the A20 does feature an ultra wide camera. Having the ultra wide camera really is one of the features that I feel like makes this phone especially stand out. Now let me show you a quick demonstration here of the difference. So here's how things look with the standard camera. Not bad, but let's switch over to the ultra wide and you can see how much more content fits into the frame. So the ultra wide camera is excellent if you are maybe going on a vacation and you want to take photos of different points of interest, whether it's a building or nature or anything like that. That's really where the ultra wide angle camera comes in handy. Also for group photos, the ultra wide camera is awesome. Now definitely make sure to use the main camera though for low light situations and anything else. But it is cool though that we do have a dual camera setup with the device with the rear cameras. You also get portrait mode with both the front and rear cameras with the Samsung Galaxy A20. So definitely when it comes to the photography and videography aspects of the phone, I feel like it still is very competitive even now in summer of 2020. Now internally, we're getting 3 gigabytes of RAM and we're getting the Samsung Exynos 7884 processor. And I did run a benchmark test and let me show you the score right now. But with the device, I got an overall score of 119,222. So that is a decent score, certainly a little bit on the slower end, but for most people out there, if you're just doing kind of the bare essential tasks like text messaging, phone calls, video calls, going on social media occasionally and watching video content, this phone will get the job done. But if you are someone that does more advanced tasks, like maybe a lot of gaming, or maybe you do social media professionally, then I would probably stay away from the phone because it probably won't be quite as powerful as you'd like it to be. But again, for kind of the typical average person out there, I would say in the performance department, the phone will get the job done. Now, the phone features a very beefy 4,000 milliamp hour internal battery, so you will get decent battery life with the phone. Now keep in mind, one of the reasons why they give this device a bigger battery is because typically the Samsung Exynos processors are not the most battery efficient out there, especially compared to their Qualcomm counterparts. So that's pretty much the logic behind giving this phone a very massive battery. But still, despite those inefficiencies, the phone will still give you a full day of usage without any issues. Now, as far as the software goes on here, it is running Samsung's One UI. However, the phone still has Android 9 Pie. Now, Samsung had promised that the Galaxy A20 would be getting the Android 10 update sometime in May of 2020, and we're almost done with May at the time of me recording this video, and we still don't have the update, so I feel like we could get the update anytime now, or maybe it will be delayed a little bit, but just know that Android 10 should be very close to reaching this device, and I'm certainly looking forward to that. Now, with Android 10, there aren't going to be too many new features, but you are going to be getting Samsung's One UI 2.0, and that does come packed in with quite a few goodies. So at the very least, it will give the phone a nice refresh, and then of course, having newer versions of Android typically will give you more security as well. Now, taking a look at the left side of the device, we just have the slot for the microSD card and SIM card. By the way, this phone features an all-plastic build minus the front. Then on the right side, we have the power button and we have the volume button. Then on the top of the phone, we have the noise canceling microphone. And then on the bottom, we have the 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, USB-C port for charging and data transfer, microphone, and speaker. Then on the back side of the Samsung Galaxy A20, we have the camera, we have the flash, we have the fingerprint sensor, and the Samsung logo. Now, this phone definitely does pick up quite a few fingerprints, as you can see here, so you'll probably want to pair it up with a case anyway, just because it is plastic all around, and plastic does tend to scratch a little bit quicker than glass or metal. But on the other hand, since it is a more affordable device, then maybe you don't really care about putting a case on it. It just depends on your personal preference, but overall, I think it is still a very solid phone. Now, one of my favorite things about the AMOLED display on the Samsung Galaxy A20 is how great content looks. You can see in these various photos how much the colors really do pop. Things really do look fantastic here. You're able to see content in great clarity. Of course, when you want to actually record your own content for Instagram, you can easily do that as well. And one of the things that I've really liked about the A-series phones is how good the microphone quality is. So that's great. Of course, if you want to look at your various stories, you can do that too. Things are going to be nice and smooth there as well. So like I said, I mean, This phone certainly doesn't feature like a flagship processor in it, that's for sure. And when you compare it to other devices like the Samsung Galaxy S20, for example, the A20 will be significantly slower. But keep in mind how much money you are saving. So if you were to buy this phone now in summer of 2020, I think it still is a good choice if you can snag it for a very good price. As far as buying it unlocked goes, I don't know if that's necessarily the best decision to do at this point. Since we do have the Galaxy A21 coming out very shortly, you might just want to wait a month or two for the A21 to make its way online for purchase. But if you are going to get this phone from a carrier, maybe it's Metro by T-Mobile or Visible or Cricket or one of those carriers, if you can get a really good deal at the carrier store, then that might make more sense. I've heard stories of many people being able to get this phone for 50 bucks or even for free. So if you can find a way to finesse a really good deal on the Galaxy A20, then I would certainly go that route versus getting it unlocked. But I hope you enjoyed this video about the Samsung Galaxy A20 in summer of 2020. And if you do want to learn more about the device and see the most up-to-date pricing, then take a look at the link in the video description. But this is Kevin here. Give the video a thumbs up, make sure to sub to the channel, and I will see you in the next video.